May the words of my mouth and the meditation of our hearts be always acceptable to you, O Lord, our God and our Redeemer. At Jesus' Last Supper with the disciples, he prayed out loud for them. And then he prayed, I ask not only on behalf of these, but also on behalf of all who will believe in me through their word, that they all may be one. In other words, John's Gospel tells us that even at that early time, Jesus was praying for us. Think about that. His prayer for us is that we may be one, he and us, and we and him, just as he and the Father are one. This Sunday completes the season of Easter, and it anticipates the Pentecost, whatever that will come to mean. But in his parting conversation with the disciples, he told them to return to Jerusalem and wait. For what? According to Luke, it was to wait for the promise of the Father, to wait for another, a paraclete, an advocate who, according to John, would lead them into all truth, whatever that would come to mean. And so they waited, remembering the days that they were with Jesus before that terrible day of the crucifixion that took him away from them. And then the joy they felt as he was with them again for 40 days, although in ways they hardly understood. Then, as of on last Thursday, 40 days following his resurrection, he disappeared in a cloud. Now, what? Well, now they must let go of the past and move on into the future with all of its uncertainties. We also must let go. Let go of everything that holds us back, things that we once felt that we were certain about. Yes, we do have liturgical seasons to provide a certain amount of consistency, and our prayer book does give us ways to celebrate things we accept through faith, mainly because we do believe what the author of the letter to the Hebrews said in the first verse of the 11th chapter. Faith is confidence in what we hope for, and assurance about what we do not see. When we think too much about it, that's a bit uncomfortable. But this assurance describes our inward response to God's unfailing love. We can be certain of the Lord's promises because, as the author of the Hebrews letter shows the lives of biblical heroes to prove these promises to be true. So now let me introduce you to Naomi Shihab Nye. She is an Arab-American poet, born in 1952. Her mother is an American. Her father is a Palestinian. She grew up in Ferguson, Missouri, a majority white suburb of St. Louis, and graduated from a small college in San Antonio, Texas, where she chose to live. She describes herself as a wandering poet whose images mainly reflect memories from her childhood. A particular poem, part of which I want to share with you, is called Kindness. Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. You must feel the future dissolve in a moment like salt in a weakened broth. what you held in your hand, what you counted and carefully saved, all this must go, so that you know how desolate the landscape can be between the regions of kindness. How you ride and ride and ride, thinking that this bus is never going to stop. The passengers eating maize and chicken will stare out the windows forever. Before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak to it until your voice catches the thread of all sorrows and you see the size of the cloth. Then it is only kindness that makes sense anymore. Only kindness that ties your shoes and sends you out into the day to gaze at bread. It is only kindness that raises its head from the crowd of the world to say, "It is I that you have been looking for." And then it goes with you everywhere, like a shadow or a friend. In the name of God, Creator, Redeemer, and Giver of life. Amen.